What's up, Inner Circle? Hey, everybody. Good to see you. What's up, Tia? What's up, Denise? Good to see you, Alexis. Hey, Jessica, Sue, Michael. What's going on, Martha? Hey, everybody. Sina. I hope I said that right. Good to see you, man. Amanda, how you doing today? Pastor Brenda, good to see you. Cynthia, what's going on today, Cynthia? I see you. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Inner Circle. I have a little bit of a head cold, so if I'm a little off, it's not COVID. I got tested like 3 times. You know, it's so funny. We can't have colds in today's world. You have a cold, it's got to be COVID. I've been lucky. I've never got it. But man, I got a thick head, so if I'm a little off today, excuse me. But how could I miss being here with you guys? Good to see you, Brenda and Serene and Sonia and Samantha and Alexis and Erica and Steph. Good to see everybody. You know. First off, if this is the first time you're joining us on Inner Circle, it's a privilege and a pleasure to have you guys here today. This has been, I think, almost a decade. Every month we get to go live. And I've shared this before, but you know, I'm a part of different groups in our family, and this is kind of my longest running family. So you always get I hope I'm always doing the best version of me, but I know I'm a little different in each group. This just kind of feels like home. So if I'm really casual and really, you know, just share what's on my mind, sometimes I follow my scripts and agenda that we lay out. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes we ask lots of questions. Sometimes we don't. I go with my heart. I go with what I feel that you guys need to keep moving forward. To keep moving forward in the self-education industry. I see so many people launching your courses, getting ready to launch a course, or figuring out your niche, or what's next, just to keep you in the game, or whatever industry. Some of you have been with me from Inner Circle for a decade, and maybe you're not in that space. This is about every month, us going live to talk about mindset, marketing, or momentum. And what I usually talk about and what I usually teach is what's on my heart, or what I'm focusing on a lot focusing a lot on in that month. So that's what we're talking about today. I want to talk about the mindset shifts that you'll need, and we all need, in this shifting world. I think it's really important. Without going deep into this, and if I sneeze a few times, excuse me, I might even need some tissues here in a moment. Scott, you might want to send somebody to give me a box of tissues, but at least we're not in person. You wouldn't be all freaked out if I sneezed, right? But what I'd love in the chat right now is, what are some of the thoughts that have been going on in your mind over the last 4 weeks? What are some things you're thinking about right now when you see, you know, inflation at a 40-year high, or you see, you know, they're saying a recession is inevitable, gas prices. What are things are scary? Sue, thank you. Scared, nervous, need to make more money, scary, nervous, fear. Will people buy? Great question. Who really needs this? Inflation, uncertainty, save, a little scary. I feel, look at what's coming through, guys. I see several people wrote opportunity. I like that, because that's what I'm going to flip your minds to think about today. Greater need, abundance, overwhelm and uncertainty, fear, hope, need to change, learn new ways to grow, anxious, right? Overwhelmed, excited and anxious at the same time, right? So we're right on point of what I want to talk about today, because I want to tell you, this industry, right? Let's say the self-education industry, which 95% of you here are in. Everybody else, if you're not, everything we talk about is relative to all areas of your life. But in a time of a shift, there's only 2 things that happen. You either get anxious and fearful and worried, and we start new stories, and we play a little bit small without realizing, and we kind of wait to see what's going to happen. And then there's other people that can shift and pivot and say, how do I adjust, change, impact even more, and thrive through this shifting times? And I want to tell you, because I was in business in 1999 when the internet bubble crashed. I was 4, no, I'm kidding. But I was in business in 99 when the internet bubble shifted, and I was at the peak of my, on my way to the peak in 2007, when it crashed, when the economy shifted, we went into winter. And I want to tell you what happens over time, right? Is not only have you been through it and you understand it, and you have that experience, but this is my world, right? And I obsess and read and listen and interview, and I get to be connected with people that spend their whole lives figuring out these cycles. And the fact of the matter is, this industry, our industry, will exponentially grow over the next 5 years, no matter what happens. That's a true story. The economy might be going this way, a recession and going into winter. The latest reports, and I think I've shared this with you maybe even last month, my team just did a deep dive study on all the numbers, and there's some people predicting that this industry will be $1 trillion a year industry by 2028. They were predicting that it would be $1 billion a day industry, Forbes did, by 2025. They predicted that in 2020. From the numbers we saw this past weekend, we're at $1 billion a day in this industry, this self-education industry right now. So this industry, our economy and the world might be going into the winter, and it's part of a cycle. Listen, when you get to step back and realize that you need all these cycles for a strong economy to exist, and there's processes and systems throughout it, if you can understand and get rid of the emotions, get rid of the outside world scaring you to death, get rid of the conversations with other people that aren't qualified to answer, and you really look at it from a different lens, this is a purification time. This is a time when things get anchored again, so there could be, right? They talk, the fourth turning is a book Tony always told me to read. It's like, we go through winter. We go through fall, we go through spring, we go through summer, and then spring, right? We go through the economy, the world goes through these cycles, they always do. But those that are prepared, those that can do some of the things I want to talk about today, this is truly an incredible time. But why is it hard? Why do you think in a shifting economy, what do you think I'm just going to share my opinion. I shouldn't say this is fact because we all have our opinions. But why do you think in a shifting economy, with the words you used, what do you think is the hardest thing in a shifting economy? The unknown, fear. Look at you, Marion. Look at this amazing team. Collective fear. Ooh, I love that. Uncertainty, the unknown, right? Of course. It's because people get scared. They don't understand the unknown. They get uncertain. And when you're uncertain, when you're fearful, and you're not sure what to do, what do most of us do? What do most of us do? Nothing. Melanie, Pastor Brenda, nothing. Julia, right? So that's why I love that we're a part of this family. I love that you're a part of mastermind.com and you're a part of this group and we get to be together every month, or maybe we're together every week on Mondays. We do our quick drive, or you're in our next level programs, and we got some cool things coming up. I'm going to give you some dates. Write down August 2nd through August 6th right now, because you're not going to want to miss this. You're part of the family. You got an invite. Tony and I are doing our once-a-year challenge. That is going to be amazing. It's August 2nd through the 6th. You guys are invited for free. It is going to be unbelievable. We'll talk about that more in a bit. It's only going to be about 90 minutes, 2 hours a day for those 5 days, and we are obsessing on it. But I digress. Today, I want to talk about, I want to anchor in before we get to some of the things I want to share. I want to anchor in and remind you, this isn't me trying to motivate you. The fact of the matter is the economy is shifting. Is that true? 100%. Is it true gas prices are up, food prices are up, interest rates are going up, right? Inflation is up. Stock market is, if you look over the last 10 weeks, is going down, right? All those signs are there. That's true. But is it true that you have to suffer? Is it true that you have to sit and wait? Is it also true that this industry is exponentially growing? That people will need and want to lean on you for self-education, for specialized knowledge. Let me tell you why I believe, I'm sorry, I'm going to digress here for a moment, but why I believe specialized knowledge will exponentially grow, or why it does. I'm not guessing, it's growing. My best years in business were 07, 08, and 09. The last recession were my best 3 years. And here's my theory. What's the difference between general and specialized knowledge, right? think of general and specialized knowledge. I'm going to tell you, this is my theory, and I've had lots of time, 25 years in this industry, to think about it, a couple of down cycles. Here's my theory. If you wanted to be an interior designer, I'm just going to use this because this is the conversation I had with my daughter last month about her going to college or not, and what are her options. So if you wanted to be an interior designer, there's two ways you could go about it, right? You could go get general knowledge, right? Let's just say you were younger and you're going to go to college and you're going to take business classes and marketing classes and design classes and creative classes and math classes and all the stuff you have to take to get all the credits, go to school for maybe 4 or 6 years to get your bachelor's and go all in and do some internship in between all that. That is like general knowledge, right? You got to do all that. What's specialized knowledge? Find the best interior designer that you know in your state or in the country and go to work for them for 6 months. And instead of getting paid, tell them, I want to pay you to be the best employee you've ever had. Imagine if you found the most amazing interior designer and said, you have the best reputation, your Instagram looks amazing, you make $1 million a year. I want to pay you $25,000 to be the best employee you've ever had over the next 6 months. Which one would be better? The general knowledge of 6 years? Or 6 months just learning what you need to know, avoiding the pitfalls, understanding the marketing, the look, the feel? Which one 1,000% would get you more results? So what I believe is when things are blissful and great and people have time and extra money, it's like maybe general knowledge. Maybe I'll figure it out on my own. Maybe I'll get a course. When things tighten, somebody said, tighten, save. People are going, I'm not going to waste 5 years. I'm not going to try to figure this out on my own. I'm going to find somebody who's already done it. I'm going to buy that course or get that coaching program or get them to be my mentor. But it's counterintuitive. If I said to somebody, hey, go to work. Listen, Mike, the conversation with my daughter, I'm not exaggerating. This is my exact conversation. She's going into 10th grade after the summer. And she's 50-50 on college. And I'm cool with that. I'm going to support whatever she wants to do. I'm not the dad going to push her to college. And because I didn't go to college, I'm not going to be the dad that doesn't push her. She knows this. There's no free ride. There's no, I'm going to get out of high school and see what's up. There's none of that. She has to make a decision. She has to figure it out. And I used an example of interior design because she, at one time, thought it was really cool how somebody could take a house and just make it look so beautiful. And you walk into 2 houses, and one without a great interior designer and one with, it's completely different. And it's exactly what I told my daughter. I'm like, if you decide you want to go to school for the experience and friends and growing and being on your own and moving to a different state, I'm all in. Good grades, we'll figure it out. If you don't think college is good for you, we are going to research exactly what I just told you, the top interior designers. You're going to personally write them a note, and you're going to go be their best employee they've ever had in their entire life, and you're either going to do it for free or we're going to pay them to be their employee. And at first she's like, well, and then I told her, I was like, let's think about all you would learn here in general knowledge and this little slice of interior designing. Or you go find somebody who's the best in the world at what they do, and you get specialized knowledge. My daughter is going to choose one or the other. But I believe, and I really want you to hear me, whatever your topic is, it doesn't matter. It's not about financial. It's about people still want the same results. They still want to go vegan. They still want to be better in law enforcement. They still want to be better, getting through issues, problems, relationships, finding themselves again, life coaching. They still need all that. But people don't want general anymore, and they don't have time to figure it out on their own. That's why I believe the specialized knowledge industry that we're all in, that make people grow. Or that's why I believe it grows, right? So with that said, I believe it's time to go deeper, right? I think I said this last week. But, and I know somebody said something about don't discredit college. I don't discredit college at all, especially if you're going to be an engineer or you're going to be a lawyer or you're going to go into deep dive business and all that. I just know 90% of my team that is here too went to college and they're not using any bit of their degree, and maybe that's because it's bachelor's and some of them have master's degree, but they're not utilizing it. Maybe they learned some stuff and the life experience. So please, I'm not poo-pooing college. When my daughter wants to go, my son is definitively going to college. He's a straight A student. He's got a 4.0 average. He wants to be a doctor. I will support that whole thing. But I also know my daughter's got my kind of brain. She's an innovative, creative person. And the truth is, for me, I believe she'd waste 4 years in college when she could be going deep on specialized knowledge. You don't have to think the way I think. Some of you, that's going to offend you. Some of you are like, oh, how dare you say that about college? You know, it's different strokes for different folks. But I'm in the specialized knowledge business. And every morning when I take my daughter 3 days a week, we stop at Starbucks and get her a tea that she loves before we go to school. And my daughter's friends with all the people in there. 3/4 of the people in Starbucks all have bachelor's or master's degrees, and they have no clue what they're going to do with their life. And I want to grab some of them because they're such good kids and say, find something and go deep. Get specialized knowledge. Go to mastermind.com. Find something that lights you up and go deep. And that's a conversation I have all the time. Anyway, we'll digress there. I just want to give you the reason why I think this industry will not only grow, but as the economy turns, it'll exponentially grow. So I want to anchor that in because some of you are thinking, oh, if it gets tight, no one will buy courses. If it gets tight, more people will buy courses. Does that make sense? You guys getting this? Okay, so we all agreed, at least the majority of what you shared, is when I said, what do you think's the number one thing that could hurt you in a shifting world, in a shifting economy, going into winter? And everybody agreed. Mindset, fear, playing small, holding back, not pivoting, doing nothing. It's the same thought. So I want to go through today, I want to go through 5 things that I wrote down over the weekend thinking about you on how to empower this. So when we start, let's start with this one. I'm going to start with the Wayne Gretzky quote of when he was asked why he was such a good hockey player. Wayne Gretzky, if you don't follow hockey, one of the greatest hockey players of all time. And there was a quote where he said, I don't skate to where the puck is. I learned to skate where the puck is going. Okay? And if we know that our economy is shifting, right? If we know that the economy is shifting, we know where the puck is going. Instead of, and write this down, and I'm probably going to sneeze, but write this down. Sorry. I sneezed right into the microphone. I'm sure you guys all enjoyed that. That's really awesome. Instead of being reactive, if we understand where things are going, hear this. Instead of us being reactive and be like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Thank you, guys. We could anticipate where things are going. So replace reactiveness with anticipation. We are going, unless something dramatically changes, we are following into a downward trend, a winter of our economy. So here's the cool part. Those that anticipate seem as if they're the ones that can see around corners. We can see around corners, right? I literally right now, you know who will deny this? Who's in real estate? Anybody in real estate? Raise your hand. Those in real estate brokers, real estate agents, real estate investors, mortgage lenders, title companies, ask any of them right now and they'll go, no, it's probably just a hiccup. We'll be back. They can't face it. Like they can't, it's just too hard. Like I can't think this is another 2007. It can't be. It's just going to be a quick rebound. It's not. If it follows history, it's not a quick rebound, right? And the average person might not even feel these because there's still a lot of contracts out there. There's still the feeling of it, but it's coming. So you can either go, I'm going to ignore this and it's going to get better, or what happened in 2007? How can I thrive? You know how I shifted in 2007 and what I was teaching? I said, I'm not doing a real estate lesson here, but I shifted, saw it was coming, and I started compiling a list of real estate investors, not regular homeowners that were buying for themselves, investors that wanted to buy homes to rent, not investors that did fix and flip, because on a down market, fix and flips are a little brutal. I looked for investors that bought and hold, and I would find investors who own 5 single-family homes or more, and I started sending them letters. And I built a big old buyer's list of investors, and I sold properties all through the downturn to investors, right? I anticipated, I didn't react. So how do we innovate? How do we figure out where the puck is going? Well, one, you're a part of this family. I'm going to tell you on a weekly, monthly basis all the time what I see, what I envision, staying connected to each other, knowing that this industry will grow, but we need to, right, if we're going to anticipate, we need to speak talk to our prospect right where they are, right? I asked you this last week, but I'll ask you again. Who in here has had a conversation in the last week about gas prices? Who's had a conversation about inflation? Who's had a conversation about the insanity of the news, right? We are talking about different things today than we did 6 months ago. So how do we look around corners? Your course and product probably doesn't have to change a bit, but how we communicate why this product is important now. How we talk to somebody when they feel, everybody said you're uncertain, I feel off. So do your clients, so do your prospects. So speak to them in a way where you can give them some of your certainty. So you could say, stop wasting time with general knowledge or figuring it out on your own when you could get specialized knowledge from me, and it is the most cost-effective and efficient way to get things done. We have to be 2 things in a down economy. You ready? Write these 2 words down. We have to be efficient and effective. We have to be efficient and effective. And that's what people want during uncertain times. People don't want to gamble. People don't want to guess. They don't have time for a lot, especially, just think about this. You know, I always say, I'm dying. See, I can tell this is my inner circle group. I go off ADD squirrel, right? But 2 things I always say magnify a person. Alcohol and money. If someone is a jackass, I'm just going to say it like it is, when they're broke. Did you ever see when you give a jackass money, they're just more of an idiot, right? If you see somebody that's a little loud and obnoxious and you see them at like a Christmas party and they're drinking, whoa, Andrew, they're way more loud and obnoxious, am I right? Right? Money and alcohol just magnify. And then, do you ever see someone who's so sweet? They're like in the office and they're always caring. Give them a couple drinks and they're like ready, tears come down their eyes. I just wanted to tell you how much I care about you, right? Or that same person gets money and they're contributing more. I see Alexis, right? Well, guess what else I believe magnifies who you are and magnifies your fears is a recession, right? If you're a little scared when the economy's good, you're really scared when things go sideways, right? If you see optimism, if you see opportunity in shifts when it's bad, you will see massive opportunity right now. I see more opportunity now than I did over the last 10 years. I want to give you that gift. I am more excited. I want to serve people deeper. I want to serve people greater. I want to be here for you more, better, harder, stronger than I've ever done before because I know you need it, but I also know if you shift your mindset, you will thrive more over the next 36 months than you did the prior 36 months because you won't have as much competition because there's going to be a lot of people just playing scared and go, I'll just wait till it comes back. Oh my God, no. If you look at all the biggest companies over the last 25 years, you ever Google the top 25 companies the last 25 years? The majority of them happened in the recessions. 99, 2008 is when these big companies were born. So let's be that group. Let's do that for each other, right? So if a recession magnifies it, then Christina and Andrew and Dale and Jonathan, this is a time where we want to give them a little more sense of certainty. We want to let them know that we are effective, we are efficient, that we understand where they are, and that's why this is the fastest path to get to the end result that they desire. Would it be wrong to compare a 4-year degree or or taken a long time to figure it out on your own compared to what you've learned. And maybe what you've learned, you learned through a 4-year, 6-year, 8-year degree, plus working, plus trial and error, right? I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but I really want you to see why I'm going to throw my hand up and say our business, and you're already a part of our family, I believe our business will grow more over the next 4 years as we did the prior 4 years, because I plan on helping way more people that need it. Who wants to help way more people when they need it the most? Now, I look at different faces here, and I know you. Some of them I met and talked to you through the years. Some of you through the last 6 months, and some of you might be thinking, I don't know, but my niche, what I do, is not really affected by by a shift in the economy. Everybody's conversations are changing, right? It doesn't matter what you teach. It doesn't matter if it's yoga or eating vegan, or like Cyrene teaching people going through menopause. All of them are going to have those same thoughts. And we just need to speak to them where they are, right? We need to speak to them in that sense of, let's get this going, because when you're stressed, is everything heavier, right? If you know you should eat vegan to lower cholesterol or fix diabetes or help with an autoimmune disease, right? Let's just say, a lot of people, we have trainers in here that help, that say going vegan or plant-based can really help cholesterol, can really help diabetes, can really help autoimmune diseases, right? Take a recession on top of that, you're even more stressed. You really need to fix your health even more because you have less time of maybe meditating or less time focusing on you. So you have more angst. Listen, you could have more angst just by watching the damn news. So those things that you think aren't associated with a recession, they absolutely are. And people are more worried about them, and they need more help now. And they need what you teach them today and over the next 2 years more than they needed it the last 2 years. Because we've all been on like cloud nine. We've had a 15-year run with this economy. I know COVID was tough. I get that. But a lot of people kind of found themselves during COVID. Like, I started working at home and I'm never going back. I started my new business. I'm never going back. So though COVID was hard, it also allowed some people to find themselves. This is a little different because you're going to have global insecurity. We're going to have global worry, global uncertainty. Okay? You guys getting this? So this one is seeing around corners. Anticipate, overreact. Change your dialogue to match what's going on. Know that people are more uncertain and give them an extra dose of certainty on why you can help them expedite being efficient and effective in teaching them what they need to know so they can go quicker and faster. Make sense? You guys got that? And this is any business you're in. Okay, that's number one. I wrote this in my book, The Underdog Advantage, but I thought it was really important now. And it's the power of you can't. I really want you to hear this. Because this is stuff I've already taught you or you've probably already heard, but I want to give you some catchphrases. I want to give you some catchphrases that you go, oh, I get that, right? Anybody here listen to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights? Raise your hand if you did. Such a good book. Oh my God. And I don't know if you listened to it, but he's like, he's an actor and he's a storyteller and he's one crazy dude and way crazier than you thought and really a good dude, because he's evolved and he grew. Good family man, all that stuff. But the whole point, the name of the book is Green Lights. And his whole point, the green light, is in life when things go sideways and this didn't happen, someone let you down, right? The Tony Robbins, life happens for us, not to us. A lot of times when it was something that went totally sideways or he gets stuck with a foster family that is absolutely insane in Australia and he can't leave for a year and he's going crazy. All these things that he thought were like the end of his life, a red light, when he looked back, they were actually a green light. Like, wow. That gave me the gift to understand this. It gave me the ability to act. It gave me the ability to understand that trouble with my dad made me a better human here. That trouble with my mom made me a better husband, right? And all those things. And he anchored that when something's going sideways, in most cases, it's a green light. And throughout the book, I'm not going to try to pretend to talk like Matthew McConaughey, but through the book, he gets to a point and all of a sudden he goes, green light. And now in my head, the reason I'm sharing this, because I want to talk about the power of you can't, is I love little things like that, because you're going through a tough time. You're like, damn, why is this happening? And all of a sudden your brain goes, green light. You're like, oh, all right. I want you, the reason I want to give you, oh, and I'll give you guys a family surprise. Now that I said it, it's not going to be a surprise, but Matthew McConaughey will be a part of our challenge on August 5th. Tony and I will be interviewing him about his book, Green Lights, because he's entered our self-education industry. That book's not about him being an actor. That book, he is straight up sharing his life experience, and it impacted my life and lots of other people, right? So I'm excited to share that with you all. We got some other cool guests coming. But the power of you can't, just like that green light phrase, I want you to think of you can't as a new trigger of like, oh, yes, I can. You see, I've embodied that when you think, hey, I'm going to launch my knowledge industry, my self-education. I'm going to launch my course, my coaching program, my high-ticket offer. I'm going to launch my next-level online business during a recession. And people in your family are going to go, ooh, you can't do that. Friends are going to say, oh, you can't do that now. Some of you are going to say, you can't do it during this presidency, or you can't do it over the last presidency, or you can't do it over the next one. And then what happens is your inner self-doubt, if you guys ever read Millionaire Success Habits, I call it the inner villain, will say, you can't do this. You've tried before. You're too old. You're too young. You don't understand technology. You're an introvert. All these things happen, and that voice goes, you can't, you can't. And here's what's so sad. The majority of the world, yes, it creeps in, Steph. The majority of the world go, yeah, maybe I can't. But what I've trained myself to do, it's why I wrote it in that book and why I'm going to give you this little thing today, is when that voice comes in your ear or someone says it to you or it comes from inside, you can't means I must. Right? When I look back, God, I was so lucky because I didn't have a lot of mentors when I was younger. But I remember family and friends telling me I can't. And I remember thinking in my head, they're right. I don't have money, not that smart. I've never done this before. But who the heck? No way. I must now. Right? My 12th grade yearbook, my saying was like, no one knows me now, but you'll hear me someday. And it was that same philosophy. I don't know where I got it from. Maybe it was watching my mom struggle and I wanted to take care of her. But I just remember everybody saying, you're not that smart. If you're not going to college, if you're not doing this, if you don't have money, it takes money to make money. My guidance counselor literally, and maybe you guys can appreciate someone who said this in your life at one point. My guidance counselor literally told me, not exaggerating, I'm not making this up, that I should go, if I wasn't going to college, that I should go to the only factory in our town and start with a minimum wage job packing plastic bags in boxes. They were a plastic bag company. And she said, you might be able to work your way up through that. Thanks, Miss Canosa. I'm glad you saw my potential, right? Yeah, Jonathan, you know what I'm talking about, right? We've all been there. It's like, really? It was like, college, oh, the dumb guy. Ooh, you know, go pack minimum wage. Maybe you could be a line manager someday. I mean, literally, come on. But the reason I'm saying this is because somewhere, someone told you, can we just say it like it is? Sometime in your life, maybe multiple times, someone told you you can't, or that's not for you, or it's not the right time, or that's for other people. Dennis, I see you shaking your head, man. Good to see you. And you didn't do it. I could get emotional. I don't know what, maybe because I'm not feeling good today. I could literally cry. I'm not kidding, because how many times have you missed out on the man or the woman you're supposed to be because someone unqualified told you you should? And the only reason I think I get emotional is because I was a millimeter away from not being this guy. I was a millimeter away from believing what everybody told me. You don't have great grades. You don't have money. You're not going to college. You should just be happy with the life that someone else deals with you or dealt you. Bullshit. Bullshit. Hear me right now. This is not just about me. I'm not trying to tell my stories to impress you. I'm saying it because I want to get inside your heart. Do not believe I can't or you can't or that inner voice or that so-called imposter syndrome. Bullshit. Call it out. They make statues of crazy people, not the ones that are realistic. Screw realistic. Who's realistic in whose eyes? Be unrealistic. Be unreasonable. Be unwilling to settle because you're meant for more. And you know you are. You wouldn't be a part of my family, of this family. You wouldn't be a part of Mastermind. You'd be just out. You'd be online right now writing shit reviews on somebody else. Like, oh yeah, you're a dreamer, right? Like, that's not who you are. You're here because you're an optimist. But we have some adversity in front of us with this shift, and I just want to empower you more. We could thrive through these next 3 years, and when we thrive, we can bring along the people we love and as many people as we want. Maybe it's a time you donate more to your church than you ever have in your life, or you sponsor families that can't make it, or just sponsor people who are just going to go in the toilet with their mindset, right? So the power of you can't. When you hear you can't for the rest of your life, think about, I must, and I will. You guys got that? Jill Stone, I see you. Right? All right. Here's one for you. This is the third one. When things go sideways, and there's a lot of talk about it or some things shift, we start asking ourselves some really crappy questions. It's just true. Will I be okay? Am I going to make it? Can I really do this? I learned this from Tony Robbins 25 years ago. I learned this, and this stuck out forever. If you ask yourself stupid questions, you give yourself a stupid answer. I'd love to, you know, sugarcoat that or put some whipped cream on it for you, but it's like, can I really make it through it? And your body and your subconscious says, I don't know. I don't know if we can. Can I really do this? I don't know. Maybe we can't. Am I too old for this? Probably. Is technology too hard for me? Absolutely. Ask that dumb question, thou shalt receive a dumber answer. Julie, I see this is hitting home. Vicky, I know what you're talking, right? Chris, Monica. So, we have to ask ourselves better questions. Ask ourselves better questions, right? What are those questions happening in your mind? And how do you reframe them? Instead of saying, will we be okay? What if the question was, how can I thrive? How can I stand above? How can I make this turn this to my advantage? How can I shift the conversation? How can I shock the hell out of my whole family? How can I prove them wrong? How can I prove me right? What are questions that you could start asking yourself that are just different? How about, why the hell should I be watching this news channel? Right? Or why the hell should I put my faith in that some politician is going to come along and save us? Can we all agree that there's no one coming to save us, especially in today's world? Things have definitely shifted when my son comes home from school. At 13 years old, was anybody here talking politics on a regular basis? Raise your hand if that's true. Was anybody here at 13 talking about politics? Man, my son comes home every day. It's a topic of conversation in his school. And he's like, Dad, there are literally liberals and conservatives in my 7th grade. He's like, literally, you're shamed if you wear a mask, and you're shamed if you don't wear a mask. You're shamed if you like Trump, and you're shamed if you like Biden. He's in 7th grade. These conversations are unbelievable. Like, literally, my son was born with eczema really bad, right? He was born with eczema really bad. And I'm digressing here because we're family. And his eczema was so bad, we found out really early he had nut and tree nuts and allergies really bad. anaphylactic-wise and had asthma. So at a young age, his doctors, even medical doctors, were like, you know what, let's go easy on the vaccines because he's so on the edge of so many things with his immune system. I'd hate for the MMR. He's like, this is our medical doctor, not just the naturopath. Our medical doctor's like, hold up on the MMR. Let's see where he's at 3, 5, 7 years old. Make sure he's got a strong immune system, right? Now, whatever your beliefs are on traditional vaccines, current vaccines, we're all different. That's what makes the world great. If we start looking through that lens, it would change it. But my son only got a handful of his vaccines. And literally, he was in school and a teacher brought up vaccines, starting probably with the COVID vaccine, and worked his way backwards. And the teacher's like, and you believe there are some kids in today's world, their parents don't give them vaccines. And she goes down this road and he's like, he raised his hand and was like, hey, you know, some people are dealing with other things. You don't know the whole story. And he said, literally, my son comes home and tells me, like, some of the kids were like, oh, so you're an anti-vaxxer. Like, oh my God, no. Like, this is 7th grade. You talk about polarization and craziness going on in the world. So the only reason I'm digressing on that is that insane, Brad and Martha, right? Denise, I mean, I don't care what side you're on. I mean it. Like, we all have, we're so blessed to be able to have our own thoughts. Do you know what it's like to be a dad and read a million things that say you're absolutely insane if you don't vaccinate your child? And the other 50% say with your son with autoimmune and issues like that, if you vaccinate him, you're killing him? It's 50-50. You know what it's like to be a dad and try to figure that out and make the right, best decision? I was watching documentaries on no vaccines and I was watching documentaries on vaccines. I was out of my mind making decisions. I interviewed doctors. I interviewed naturopaths. I interviewed really strict doctors that go by the book. It was insane. And then at the end of the day, I just took all that advice and we made the decision we thought was best. Should anybody be attacked for what they think is making the decision they thought was best? Right? No one should. But that's where we are. And that's pretty insane. So we can't let the outside world dictate who we are, right? We can't let the outside world create a narrative that makes us ask dumb questions for ourselves, so we give ourselves dumb answers. We have to figure out, so the reason I share this with you today is because it's another one like green light. I want you to think about the questions. I want you to catch them over the next week, over the next month before we're together again. I would love for you to go, oh, you know what we'll do? It would be great. For those of you, especially if you're in the mastermind community, you could share it in there or you could wait till next month. I would love, or maybe you know one right now, what are some dumb questions or bad, I won't say dumb, dumb's not a good word, some bad questions that you ask yourself? And what are some of them you may have asked yourself over the month? So you go, oh my God, no wonder I feel crappy. I've been asking myself a crappy question, right? So that's the third one, is let's do different questions and questions that can allow you to give yourself a more powerful answer. Good to see you, Connie. How are you today? Always good to have you here. Love your glasses. Melanie, good to see you. All right. Number 4. Choose progress over perfection. Choose progress over perfection. Who knows for a fact that some of your delay is because you're waiting to have everything perfect? Raise your hand if you are just waiting for it. I get it. Look, it's like 40, 50, now 60% of at least the hands I see, right? And I get that. I totally understand, especially when it's something new. But what about if you, raise your hand if you're a parent. Okay. What if you waited for everything to be perfect to have a child? There would be no children on this planet, right? The relationship's got to be perfect, perfect amount of money, perfect home, perfect job, perfect time, perfect daycare, perfect spouse. I want to be perfect, perfect, perfect. None of us would have children. If you're in a relationship, if you waited for everything to be perfect, we'd all be single, right? But as we go, we can perfect, evolve, and grow. So I know it's a little harsh when people say, jump out of the plane and grow wings on the way down. That's a little harsh, right? But you got to land somewhere between jump out of the plane and grow wings on the way down and waiting for it to be perfect. And I'll give you a little secret, just because I've been doing this for 25 years. Sometimes your desire to be perfect is really your subconscious disguise of saying, I'm afraid to fail. I can't do it. I can't go yet because I don't even know the exact colors of my logo. I can't do it yet. I haven't perfected my headline on mastermind.com. I can't do it yet. I don't have the 4th module. I got the 3, but number 4 just isn't dialed in yet. When I get that perfect, I haven't done it yet because I want to perfect the art of building my Facebook group and getting the right amount of people in. I haven't perfected video yet. You know, I'm okay on video, but like I stammer a little bit and I feel a little weird. I'm going to wait. And we set these things. Tia, I see you. Right? We set these things, and when they're perfect, we'll give ourselves permission to go, and our subconscious goes, oh, we're okay for a while. Tia's not going to get that video thing down for another 6 months, so we're good. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't even show your face, right? Cecilia, I got you, right? So what I want to share with you is what you think is imperfect is still going to be unbelievable to the rest of the world. You work with us. You have the training. So many of you are in Project Next, you're in Mastermind, you have the tools, you have the pieces. You're going to be way beyond what you think, and people just want the best version of you. They don't want you to be like me, or they don't want you to be like Jesse or anybody else. They want you to be like you, the best version of you. So what I'm going to share with you today is, especially if you get a little insecure, if your confidence is down a little bit because of the outside world, if you have a hint of uncertainty, you're going to be even more, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. And I'll move forward once it is. So my number 4 is choose action over perfection. Choose momentum over perfection. Choose progress over perfection. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Listen, I'm going to give you a little share here. If you try it and it doesn't work, the police aren't going to show up at your front door and embarrass you in front of your neighbors. There's no squad that's like, oh my God, excuse me, ma'am, that video you did is absolutely horrific. Please get off the internet and here's your $1,000 fine. Like, that's not going to happen. Melanie, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of your friends are going to call you and be like, I saw you tried a webinar. It was so bad. Don't ever call me again. It's not going to happen. But we have that delusion, don't we? Like we come up with all these stories of what's going to happen when it's not perfect. Oh my God. You know what? Next month, you know what I'm going to do next month? Mike, could you make a note of this? Next month, I'm going to dig up some of my first times on video, and I'm going to play it with you guys so we can all laugh hysterically at me. If I would have waited to be perfect, oh my God. Honestly, if I play some video, you will literally laugh at me, maybe not even like me anymore. You might just opt out and never be a part of our family. Like, it doesn't take perfection, it takes uncomfortable action. The word that we've been talking about as a family for a long time. Make sense, guys? You hearing me? Okay. And number 5 is recognizing the villain in advance. Now, we talked about the story a little bit. We talked about the power of you can't. They're all kind of coming together here, right? But recognizing the villain, to me, is one of the most important things you can do. And what does that mean, recognizing the villain? I talk about this a lot, but I want to talk about it right this moment because we're in this state. There's already been something, a story, a belief, a fear, a person that has already cost you too much in your life. Do me a favor. Tia, I know you were so great in sharing your emotions in your face, and so many other people were when I was talking about that. But all of you, put in the chat right now, what is a story or a person or a belief or a fear that you've had that stopped you in the past? Put something in the chat that stopped you in the past. Negative news, people in your environment. My person I wasn't enough. I'm not good enough. My mother, I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. My husband, my family, the man I love, you're difficult. My brother, imposter syndrome. My dad, no money. My life is sloppy. I wasn't good enough. Look at this. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for opening up and saying what the truth is. Look at these chats coming through. So amazing. Too old. Body image. Priorities. Judgment. I'm not good enough. Anxiety. Too late. Not listening. Oh my God. Thank you, guys. Thank you for putting it out there. Let me ask you something. What do you want to give more power? Okay, there's a lot of things I want to share at once. What is more scary? Facing what you said there, okay? Facing what you just said, that story, that belief, that villain, that person, my dad, my husband, my sister, my brother, my friends. I'm not good enough, I'm afraid. What's scarier? Facing that fear today, that inner villain, or being at the end of your life realizing you didn't live into your full potential because of that? What's scarier? What's scarier? Imagine ending your life going, I could have been more, but my dad didn't support me. I could have been more, but my brother thought I was crazy. I could have been more, but I'm not that good on video. I could have been more, but I wasn't at my ideal weight and I felt a little off. I could have been more, but my friends thought I was crazy trying my own thing. Imagine that feeling. You'd be like, oh my God, because I was my weight wasn't perfect or my friends thought I was crazy. Are you kidding me? Please, can I go back? I don't give a shit about that fear. I'll crush that fear. I'll beat it up. I'll throw it away. I'll do it. Please, can I get a second chance? That would be the worst feeling in the world. And here's the thing. You already recognize the villain. That's my number 5 was you already recognize it. You know your opponent. You've been dealing with that. It's already cost you too much. So if you already know your opponent, why aren't you deciding to attack it? Don't wait for it to come get you. Like you know where your enemy lives. You're just sitting around waiting for it to attack. Is it coming? My dad going to give his comments again? My friend's going to jump in? Find out where it lives and go kick its ass first. You already know that. You might as well beat the enemy up in advance. Don't be on the defense, be on the offense. It's already cost you too much. And when you can't, I don't know where I heard it. I might have heard it from Ed Milet. Somebody shared that whole, imagine at the end of your life, somebody playing you a video of the woman or the man you could have been. Oh, bleh. I could throw up thinking about that, right? Are you going to let that thing right here be the thing that stops you? Could you imagine your kids being 35 years old? Some of you might have 35-year-old kids. But imagine being your kid's 35. I see you, Elaine. Right? I see you, Helen. Imagine your 35, 40-year-old children come to you and say, Mom, you're so damn smart. You're so beautiful. You're so creative. You've always had this creative eye. Everything I've watched you do is so creative. Why didn't you ever start your own business or do the thing you were passionate about? Could you imagine looking your older kids in the eye and say, well, your dad thought it was silly. I was a little overweight. I felt I was a little old. I felt like I was just a mom. Would you be able to say that to your kids and not want to vomit all over yourself? Or would you rather say to your kids, man, I was scared to death, but I went for it. I failed a whole bunch of times, but I kept getting back up. And I found this, and this is who I became. This is what I've done. I don't care. Tony Robbins calls it leverage. I'm just trying to give you leverage today. I'm trying to give you this emotion that you don't let anything stop you from being who you were designed to be. Is it easy? Hell no. But we're together. We're a family. We're working on this. It's progress. It's Kaizen. It's one step at a time. Some of you are crushing it today. I see faces on here of people that I know are cashing big checks. And I know there's faces on here of people wondering if they could ever get their first one. We're all together. The only way it doesn't work is if you bail. That's the only way it doesn't work. That's definitive. You bail, it doesn't work. That's a fact. Stay in the game until you get that spark, until you get that emotion, until you have that drive, until you accomplish that next step, and then that next step that leads to that first, second, fifth, 20th step. So who can commit today that you're all in? Who can re-anchor today that we're doing this? We can do this journey together. We have our trainings together. I'm here every month, every week. whatever we can do to support you guys. Listen, I love this family. I appreciate you so much. If you watch this live, great. I see all your amazing faces. If you're watching the replay, just as strong. You guys have, especially in the new mastermind portal, this will be up and the replay will be up tomorrow. If you want to send this, you know, have a friend watch it with you, have a parent watch it with you, have a family member watch it with you. You know what you should do subtly is you should convince the person in your life that's like telling you can't. But like, would you do me a favor? Would you just set 1 hour aside? I want to watch this video. You could pretend you haven't seen it yet, and you could sit down, and when I talk shit about them, they'll know that I'm actually talking about them. So hi, nice to meet you. I hope this helps. Stop screwing up the person you love because they got more. You're holding them back. They're going to have a shitty video at the end of their life because of you, so stop it. All right, that's my pitch for you guys. I appreciate you so much. Put it on your calendar, August 2nd through the 6th. You guys will be a part of, well, I'll pull back the curtain before we do the challenge because like I always say, a challenge is like an accordion. We're going to hope to hit 1 million people this year. Is that cool or what? But if you did it with 10 people, it's the same exact model. It's like an accordion, right? You do it with 1 million people or do it with 10 people, it works. But Tony and I's goal is 1 million people at a time when they need it most. And I can't wait to, you guys will be invited as my family. It's going to be ridiculously awesome. I appreciate you so much. This was an incredible 60 minutes. Thank you for allowing me to be me, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everybody.